There are rare moments in astronomy when everything we think we know about the universe changes. Not through a major press briefing, not through a NASA live stream, and not through some dramatic global announcement, but through a quiet release of images no one saw coming. And that's exactly what just happened. While the world waited for NASA's delayed high-resolution data, held back during a 43-day government shutdown, China made an unexpected move. The Tianwen-1 orbiter, a spacecraft never intended for deep space observation, redirected its medium-resolution camera toward a dim green object drifting well beyond Mars. When the images returned, they didn't just echo what NASA, ESA, and independent astronomers had been cautiously hinting at for months. They confirmed it. They confirmed the behavior. They confirmed the anomalies. They confirmed the fear many experts were hesitant to publicly voice. The strange characteristics of 3I/Atlas aren't a glitch, a misunderstanding, or an instrument error. They are real, consistent, repeatable, and now verified from an entirely different vantage point: Mars orbit. The object's eerie green glow, its unnatural jets, its improbable stability, its plume facing the sun, and the faint rhythmic pulses, everything Western observatories struggled to interpret, were captured clearly from 30 million kilometers away. Whatever Atlas is, whatever drives it, whatever history it carries from another star, China has now delivered undeniable evidence into humanity's hands. And tonight we're going to examine it, step by step, image by image, until this mystery can no longer be dismissed. When Tianwen-1's photos were published through China Daily and rapidly shared across Xinhua, scientists everywhere stopped in disbelief. There it was, clear and unmistakable, an elongated greenish-blue nucleus glowing like a fragment of polished crystal drifting through space. Wrapped around it was a thin reflective band and a faint ion tail that curved toward the sun. That single detail set the scientific community on fire. According to everything we understand about comet physics, an ion tail must point away from the sun, pushed by solar wind and radiation pressure. But this one didn't. It bent toward the sun as if something internal, something active, was directing it. The images also showed a faint glowing halo of dust, almost like layers of escaping light peeling away from the surface. Chinese astronomers measured the jets extending nearly 100 kilometers, far larger than anything expected from an object of this size. Even more intriguing, the jets weren't random. They appeared symmetrical, repeating in a steady rhythm, almost as if they were intentionally controlled. But the most stunning detail was this: the nucleus showed no signs of breaking apart. There were no fissures, no fractures, no debris, nothing. Despite months of powerful outgassing recorded from Earth, the object remained perfectly intact. With that, China confirmed what many researchers had quietly feared. This object isn't merely sublimating, it's behaving. For months, astronomers in the West observed patterns that pushed 3I/Atlas beyond the limits of typical comet behavior. Sudden spikes in brightness, far from the sun, acceleration that didn't match gravitational models, jets firing in the wrong direction, and faint repeating pulses that looked eerily like a heartbeat. Skeptics dismissed it all, blaming calibration errors, overprocessed images, or exaggerated interpretations. But once the Tianwen-1 data arrived, showing the same green hue, the same stability, the same plume orientation, and the same long-range jets, the debate evaporated. China's observation point was completely separate. Another planet, another platform, another set of instruments, another environment. And yet, the anomalies matched. That left only one conclusion. The behavior of 3I/Atlas isn't caused by equipment errors or viewing angles. It's built into the object itself. It brightens at distances where nothing should trigger activity. It expels material powerfully and repeatedly in regions too cold for standard sublimation. It pulses like a machine with an internal cycle. It accelerates without the debris trails expected from natural thrust. And now Mars orbit confirms every one of those observations. The strangeness isn't speculation anymore, it's documented. Tianwen-1's medium-resolution camera wasn't intended for studying deep space visitors. Yet with careful adjustments to exposure and orientation, it captured something Earth telescopes could only hint at: symmetry. The jets weren't random bursts. They formed a faint, structured pattern, multiple plumes firing in coordinated intervals, resembling small thrusters. Some pointed away from the sun, as expected, but others pointed directly toward it. That single detail breaks the rules of conventional comet science. Solar heating cannot produce sunward jets. Water vapor cannot create thrust against the direction of the sun. And natural outgassing cannot maintain mechanical rhythm. Yet 3I/Atlas does all three. But hour after hour, cycle after cycle, the jets continued, repeating in intervals of about 6 hours. Whether caused by rotation or directed venting, the pattern was unmistakable. These rhythms matched the pulse-like fluctuations Earth-based observatories had been tracking for months. And now, with confirmation from Mars, the mystery deepened. The behavior didn't look chaotic, it wasn't random, it was organized. And that's the word that unsettles the scientific community. Structured jets, structured timing, structured release of material. These aren't the hallmarks of simple sublimation. They resemble the behavior of a system, something operating with consistency and intent. Then came the spectroscopic data from Tianwen-1, adding yet another layer to the puzzle. Within the faint emissions were strong signatures of nickel and magnesium. While these metals can appear in comets, it is extremely rare for them to dominate the spectrum at this scale. The nickel-rich signal matched earlier detections from Earth, but the confirmation from Mars removed all doubt. These metals aren't merely present, they are active contributors to the emissions. A nickel-heavy composition could mean one of two things: a highly unusual origin or material altered by cosmic radiation over immense time in interstellar space. But when you pair that with symmetric jets and a plume facing the sun, some researchers began asking uncomfortable questions. Could 3I/Atlas contain chambers, cavities, or pathways that vent material in a way no natural comet does? Then there was the thermal signature. At its current distance from the sun, the surface should have been cold. Yet it wasn't. It was warmer than expected, far too warm to be explained by sunlight alone. That leaves two possibilities. There is heat being generated internally, or the object is interacting with electromagnetic forces in a way no known comet can. Neither explanation fits comfortably within existing models. Both blur the line between what is natural and what may be engineered, or at least not passive. From the beginning, NASA's concern wasn't impact risk. The trajectory is clear, and the flyby distance is safe. The concern was what the data implied. The fear that the anomalies were genuine, not errors, not processing artifacts, not misinterpretations. The fear that once higher resolution images finally emerged, once the shutdown delays ended, NASA would be compelled to acknowledge the same strange behavior seen by ESA and independent astronomers. And now, with China's images confirming everything, that moment has arrived. The green luminosity, the intact nucleus, the repeating pulses, the plume facing the sun, the acceleration without fragmentation. All of it is real and now verified from an entirely different vantage point. China has now confirmed every major anomaly, meaning the scientific community can no longer blame calibration errors or overprocessed data. 3I/Atlas is behaving unlike anything we've ever recorded. And for NASA, that creates a new problem. When their delayed high-resolution images are finally released, they may reveal features they are not yet prepared to explain. The concern isn't danger. It's the potential collapse of an existing scientific framework. China's findings have pushed that moment closer. With the new data, two main theories now dominate global discussion. Hypothesis 1, the natural explanation. In this scenario, 3I/Atlas is an ancient interstellar relic. Its surface hardened and chemically altered by billions of years of exposure to cosmic radiation. Buried pockets of volatile material could be erupting intermittently as the object heats up, producing bursts that appear controlled, but are simply chaotic physics, nature imitating machinery. Hypothesis 2, the technological relic. This idea suggests the emissions are not random at all, but deliberate, possibly stabilizing jets or remnants of a long-faded propulsion system. Not an active alien ship, but perhaps the decayed remains of a machine older than our sun, still performing basic automated functions long after its creators vanished. A drifting artifact, not surveillance, but archaeology. Both theories explain the anomalies. Both remain scientifically possible, but only one can be correct. And the data from Tianwen, one brings us closer than ever to the boundary between natural formation and engineered design. For the first time in history, we have multi-planet observations of an interstellar object, from Earth, from Mars orbit, and from spacecraft positioned elsewhere in the solar system. This gives us something unprecedented, true three-dimensional confirmation. The unusual green glow, confirmed. The intact nucleus, confirmed. The powerful coordinated jets, confirmed. The plume facing the sun, confirmed. The object's stability under violent emissions, confirmed. Observations from multiple worlds now prove the anomalies aren't viewpoint errors. They're universal features measurable from anywhere. The data itself is remarkable. But what matters just as much is what it represents: cooperation. China didn't classify their findings. They released them immediately. In a world where politics fracture nearly everything, science created a bridge across nations, across space, and placed a shared mystery on the table. And that mystery is now impossible to ignore. On December 19, 2025, 3I/Atlas will reach its closest approach to Earth, still a safe 270 million kilometers away, but close enough for the largest coordinated observation campaign in history. The Galileo project will monitor it across 3 continents, measuring rotation, acceleration, heat signatures, and jet periodicity with unmatched precision. If the pulses turn out to be erratic and unstable, the object is likely natural. If they remain consistent, patterned, and predictable, then something far more extraordinary is happening. China's images were the first blow. December may deliver the second, and somewhere between those 2 moments lies an answer we're running out of time to avoid. When you assemble everything, the jets, the symmetry, the unusual thermal readings, the metallic spectrum lines, the plume facing the sun, the impossible stability, the rhythmic pulses, the lack of fragmentation, one thing becomes clear. A pattern exists, and it can no longer be dismissed, not out of fear, not speculation, but because a spacecraft orbiting Mars has now confirmed it. You can debate interpretations, you can debate meaning, you can debate origin, but the data is no longer controversial. Because China didn't just release images, they released proof. NASA anticipated this moment, the point at which another nation, using its own instruments and viewing from a completely different position in space, would confirm that the anomalies were real. Not noise, not calibration issues, not speculation or exaggeration, but the true behavior of 3I/Atlas. Behavior that doesn't follow the rules we expect. It doesn't melt the way comets melt. It doesn't fracture under stress the way fragile icy bodies should. Its tail doesn't form the way dust tails form. Its pulses don't resemble typical outgassing patterns, and its acceleration does not match what natural objects should be capable of. China has now forced the world to acknowledge something uncomfortable. This object is acting with a level of consistency and precision that should not belong to a deteriorating chunk of ice drifting between stars. That's why the scientific community is stunned, not because 3I/Atlas poses a threat, but because it doesn't fit into any established category. It defies the models meant to explain it. The more scientists try to force the data into familiar patterns, the more those patterns break. Suddenly, astronomers are thinking like archaeologists, trying to interpret the behavior of something ancient, something foreign, something that doesn't match anything in our catalog. Because new questions are emerging, questions no one has wanted to say aloud. What if this object predates Earth by billions of years? What if its crust is a preserved fragment of a long-forgotten star system? What if the jets aren't chaos, but the fading function of internal pathways built into its structure? What if the pulses aren't signals, but pressure systems releasing in rhythm like a heartbeat preserved across cosmic time? Or, and this is the question everyone avoids, what if 3I/Atlas behaves this way not because it is failing, but because it is operating? Operating according to principles we don't yet understand. Operating according to a design shaped by forces older than our sun. Operating in a way that challenges the boundary between natural formation and engineered structure. Because the reality is simple. Comets should not survive what this object has endured. Comets should not expel material the way this one does. Comets should not maintain their glow across such distances. Comets should not accelerate without fragmentation. And comets should not display the same anomalies from Earth and Mars simultaneously. Yet this one does, all of it. So here we are, months before its closest approach, holding data from two worlds that point to one conclusion. Something about 3I/Atlas lies outside the known behavior of comets. Something in its structure resists collapse. Something in its chemistry breaks expectations. Something in its emissions raises questions that scientists hesitate to answer publicly. China didn't just confirm the anomaly, they confirmed the underlying concern. For the first time, we may be studying something that doesn't fit. Not because our tools are wrong, but because our definitions are too small. If this breakdown changed how you see this object, stay with us, because the next wave of data may reshape everything again. Like the video so more people can follow what's happening beyond Mars. And tell me in the comments, do you believe 3I/Atlas is a natural relic older than the sun? Or are we witnessing the fading function of something far more intentional?